Hello and welcome again. It's me, Mr. D. I'd like to welcome you to this first recorder lesson. We're learning the soprano recorder. As you look at this page, you'll notice the top says playing the recorder. And there are some symbols at the top that we need to learn their names and what they tell us before we get started. The very top left, you'll notice something marked the G clef or treble clef, and it's kind of curvy. Now, the bottom of it has a curve that goes around something like the shape of a letter G, which is why it's called the G clef, as well as the fact that it tells us where the G line is on the staff. You'll notice the treble clef placed on the staff with the staff labeled in the middle of the top of the page. That second line from the bottom is the G line. That's where that treble clef is encircling. Notice too on the left-hand side of the page at the top, the time signature, and they use an example of 4/4. Time signature tells you two different things. The top number tells you how many beats are in every measure, and the bottom number tells you what note equals one beat. The 4 on the bottom stands for quarter note. So the quarter note would get one beat. The reason that the 4 is used to stand for quarter note is the fact that there are 4 quarter notes in a whole note, which we'll talk about later. But it's pretty much math. 4 quarters or 4/4 in one whole, or in one. So the 4 on the bottom stands for quarter note equals one beat. On the right-hand side at the top of the page, they show you the symbol for a quarter note, which is a colored-in oval with a stem going up. It gets one count or one beat. And beside it is a quarter rest. A rest is a symbol that tells you to be silent or to take a rest from playing. A quarter rest is also worth one count, but in this case, a count of silence. Let's look now, before we end this first lesson, at the middle of the page. They show you that G is on the second line of the staff. They show you a G quarter note. To the left of the staff is someone holding a soprano recorder and fingering G. Now you can't see their thumb, but it's behind the recorder covering a hole called the thumb hole. On the right-hand side of the page, you see a recorder with the thumb hole in the back and the first or top 3 holes colored in black. Those indicate the holes that need to be covered by thumb and fingers. You're going to use the thumb and the first 3 fingers of your left hand on the top. Most woodwind instruments will use the left hand on top. Even the flute, if you hold it up and down or vertical and then turn it horizontal, you'll notice that the left hand is in the top position when the flute is vertical and then closest to your mouth in the horizontal position. So this is very much a common way to hold a woodwind instrument. So if you cover the thumb and the 1, 2, 3 holes at the top with your left hand and you blow into it, you'll get this sound. That sound is G. It is written on the second line. I played a tone that was held out. It was not a quarter note. It was just an example for you to listen to. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play 4 notes on the pitch G, and I'm going to hold them out for 4 counts. just so you can hear what it sounds like, and you can practice along with me, holding out some G's and making sure that your G sounds correct. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, very good. I want to make some points to you and give you some advice on how to make sure that you can get that correct sound of G before we end this lesson. There are 2 common mistakes when playing recorder as far as getting the correct note out besides the fingerings. And those are, you're going to possibly get squeaks if you blow the air too fast or with too much volume. For example, I'm going to finger the G, thumb 1, 2, and 3 of the left hand, but I'm going to blow too hard. Notice what happens to the sound. It can't decide whether it wants to be high all of the time or get some lowness in there. So it's not the correct sound for the G because I'm blowing too hard. The recorder does not require that much air. The other mistake that is very common is that you're not covering the finger holes correctly. There might be a sliver of a finger hole open, and in that case, you're going to get a squeak or a squawk. You're not going to get the correct note. So what I'm going to do now is roll off my 3rd finger slightly from that hole, and I'm going to play the G correctly, except for leaving the finger off slightly. Not pretty, is it? So if you're getting squeaks, make sure that you're covering the holes correctly and that you're not blowing too hard. I'm going to play 4 more 4-beat quarter note, or G's, not quarter notes, but whole notes. We're going to play 4 more of those, and I'll leave you with that for now. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, I hope to see you back on the next lesson. Goodbye for now.